Everyone, hope you all are well, good, healthy, energetic. You all may be thinking, why such background at my back rather than a background of a classroom today? I thought before taking you to a classroom, I should have a talk with you all. Some days back, I was reading about Albert Einstein. There I find a very good topic, that beautiful mind. So I thought to have a talk with you all about beautiful mind. That if you have a beautiful mind, then you can solve your problems with others in precision. If you have a beautiful mind, then it will help you to be good with others. If you have a beautiful mind, then you will have a gentle disagreement in place of aggressive disagreement. If you have a beautiful mind, then it will help you to make you interesting rather than we show that we are clever. If we have a beautiful mind, then we'll have no problems, no differences with others. How can we improve ourselves towards having a beautiful mind? There are many ways. First of all, we need to stay positive always. And we need to learn the difference between our quality and foolish pleasures. That there are people, they may have foolish pleasures. We need to understand that. Why? Because if we are happy with such pleasures, then we grow arrogant. And so mind is occurred with all sort of negative thoughts. So to have a beautiful mind, we need to avoid all these things. We may go through reading books. Here there is no compulsion what kind of books. Any book of your choice. If you love Sachin Tendulkar, read all good qualities about Sachin Tendulkar. If you like films and all these other things, go find out books, start reading. And other ways, always try to be in a company of all good people. Why? Because all beautiful minds, they also help us to make ourselves positive, and that is one step forward towards having a beautiful mind. With this, let us move to a classroom. Hello everyone. Structure number 9 today. We have finished present tense. We have finished past tense. I hope my all viewers are practicing well, learning well. You can float your questions, your queries to me. So today let us start future tense with structure number 9. This is the last kind of tense. So structure number 9, also known as future simple tense. For that we need a subject, helping verb here, different from present tense and past tense. So let us introduce to you all will and shall. I'll tell you where to use will and shall. First form, object, and for passive, object, will, shall. A new word to be introduced, be here, for construction of passive voice. Third form, as it is common form for all passive, and by subject. I'll tell you later the usage of will and shall in detail. Example, my students will learn structure number 10 tomorrow. This is example for active. Then what about the passive? Structure number 10 will be learned by my students tomorrow. One more example, I shall be given the book. Active, he will give me the book. I shall be given the book by him, and the book will be given to me by him. There are two passives. Question arises, why and how? Then you can see we have two objects here. One is me and another is the book. This sort of sentences are called two object sentences. अब दो ऑब्जेक्ट हैं हमारे पास. How to go for passive? So we can go for passive in either way. Either you can take me as an object or you can take the book as an object. Passive is possible for both. If you are taking me, then I shall be given the book by him. Though our active contains will, but I am constructing passive with shall. Why? I'll tell you. You can also take the book as an object, and you can start your passive with the book as well. In that case, the book will be given to me by him. So this is active and passive for structure number 9. Now, what about will and shall? Why did we use shall here, though our active sentence containing will? Reason is here. As per English grammar, the word shall to be used with these two subjects only, I and we. Shall is not possible with any other subject than I and we. Shall का यूज हम सिर्फ I और we के साथ ही करेंगे और किसी के साथ नहीं करेंगे. But will you can use with all. You are free to use will with any subject, even with I, with we. Fine. Now to avoid this confusion, in spoken English, we are using these contractions. They are called contractions. Contraction means हम words को छोटा करते हैं, हम उसको काट पीट कर छोटा करते हैं. जैसे टेलर कपड़े काट के छोटा करता, हम वर्ड को छोटा कर दिया. This is I shall, I will, and in short it is I'll. I will, you'll, he'll, they'll, she'll. But remember, this is used for spoken English, not in written English. Though we are using, but we should not. एक दूसरा क्वेश्चन मन में आया कि if we have this facility in grammar using this contraction, then why do we have two words, will and shall? ऐसे ही कर देते हैं. क्वेश्चन है, what is the answer to this question? We have will and shall because this can be used for assertive sentences only. But when you will go for interrogative sentences, when you have to frame questions for future tense, whether simple, are continuous, are perfect continuous variable, then you are not okay using this opposite as I taught you in previous session. Not possible. This can be only used with assertive sentences. I'll be going tomorrow. They'll be joining us tomorrow. She'll be preferring playing football in place of cricket. But what about interrogatives? And for that, we will be needing this will and shall. Why? As I told you in my last session, that to frame a question, we need helping verb to be placed before subject. And so, we need to place will or shall before subject in order to make interrogative sentences. So, what about interrogative for this? My students will learn structure number 10 tomorrow. Will my students learn structure number 10 tomorrow? Or will he give me the book? I hope I am clear to everyone why do we need will and shall, though we have this facility in grammar speaking the words in this way. With this, thank you for today, and in next session I will be coming with structure number 10.